States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We do have a quorum. We do need to adopt an agenda. I have just a couple items that we're going to adjust and play with, if you'll bear with me. 4A, I'd like to do the PRA gift agreement. And that's Mr. Butler, or Mr. Carpenter, excuse me. And then Brian's going to talk real quick. I'd like to do 8A is the fireworks permit for Camp Shenandoah. And then number 10 as Mr. Jewett's VACO meeting summary. Anybody else have anything we need to add?
So,
Yes, sir.
9,
excuse me, not 10.
yeah, so 4A is going to be under the consent agenda?
Nah, special appearance.
Oh, yeah, right.
I should have clarified.
Okay, sorry.
Anybody-
Got it.
Anybody else have anything?
Yes, sir.
Anything down there? What would you like to do?
Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Dang it, I forgot to remove one. I apologize. I would like to remove the war memorial, or war monument request. The gentleman that made that request felt like it wasn't worth coming. We are gonna get a little bit of public comment from Mr. Fisher, the commander of the Legion. But that's just information I think we can skip over. And that's that. Public comment. Public comment. Please, Mr. Fisher.
This thing on? I believe it is. Good. I'm Mike Fisher. I'm from Virginia. I'm the commander of Post 157 right here in Madison. This is my second go-around, and I want to say thank you for the Board of Supervisors. We've the fees and inspection fees, we have really put it to use. I'll get to the monument in a minute, but we've done close to over $300,000 worth of renovations. We are going to have beautiful bathrooms. The last bathrooms we had in there were built right up in 1947. So this is going to be we have a new kitchen, and we're going to have we're going to actually have two kitchens. So we're going to have one with a hood, and it's going to be really close. It's not going to be at first, but someday we hope to be a commercial kitchen. So, and then we're going to open hopefully in October. The commodes are there. The commodes have been promised to be put in by Friday, on Friday. Want to thank some people. Danny and Laura Krigler have really stepped up to the plate and paid for all the labor for the plumbing. Mr. Dawson has been super with electrical work. We appreciate him. And the contractor is Chris DeBoer, and a very patient man. He's dealt with me for a while, but he's also dealt with quite a few other legionnaires who always have opinions, and they're always right. I really want to say again, thank you to the Board of Supervisors, and thank the Madison County for being supportive. We're an organization with over 100 members. We can always use, especially younger members. We're all old. I'm a youngster at 74. So I was called up here to talk about a monument. The guy has withdrawn his request. Whatever it was Jonathan Weekly called me, and we just had one little blurb that he wanted to honor all veterans of Madison County. So I took the privilege this morning of, on our monument at the War Memorial Building, if you look on two sides of that monument, it says, "To all veterans who honorably served." So it's got them all, okay? We have I don't know if you know this, I'll give you a little trivia. In 2023, there were 744 veterans in Madison County according to the census. That's a lot of people. We've been at war for 20 years. I think they've stopped counting it, and we talked and we looked at some articles, and we probably have, over those 20 years, 500 people that have served in the armed forces. Because we had what they called after 9/11, the war on terror, and if you want to call it a war, the only declared war that we've had we haven't had a declared war since World War II. The rest of them have been resolutions, and so we have 16 World War I veterans who have died in Madison County. We have 24 from, that was World War I, 16 from World War I, 24 from World War II is on the monument, 4 from the Korean War, 5 from the Vietnam War, and 1 from Iraqi freedom. And each one of them says Madison County and then the name. That, I didn't have anything to do with that monument, but it was well done. And there's also a monument there for Clinton Greaves, and that was done, and if you haven't read that, he was a Medal of Honor winner from Madison County, and that was put up about 10 years ago, if I'm guessing right. Any questions of me?
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Mike, do you agree with him?
Absolutely.
That's it.
I have nothing to add to that. He covered it all.
Very good.
Other public comment? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody watching us? I see a couple. It's pretty good, too. All right, moving into consent agenda. We do have minutes from 9/9/2025. Then we have supplemental appropriation number 9, which is the capital rollover. That's $4,282,245. We have supplemental appropriation number 10, which is a fire program fund for $6,434. And then supplemental appropriation number 11 for Hoover Ridge Park paving project for $46,127. Anybody have any comments, thoughts, corrections, a motion on the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mr. Carpenter, come on up and, yeah, this one you probably should.
So, here we go. So today, we had signed and notarized the agreement from the Walton Thompson Foundation for the playground project. And also, there it is right there, has a commitment to fund the rest also for the splash pad as well.
It's amazing, is what that is.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yep. So, I mean, we could easily have the playground up by spring.
Yeah, so Jerry, would you tell everybody, so now we're gonna split this thing up? right?
Yes. We're going to split it up, and then the final payment will be for the splash pad. And we'll, when we get the second, when we are ready to start that project, we'll get that next money. Correct?
We should see a supplemental appropriation in 2 weeks at the next meeting.
Correct. What we're waiting on now is a check, and we'll do supplemental appropriation off of that. The first check is $800,000. The playground comes in right at $714. So we'll have the money up front, no matter when they get that done, when it happens. We'll have the money for the playground, and then as the other money trickles in, we'll do a second one for the splash pad itself. And Hannah's reviewing the contract that we're drafting for that, as well as Parks and Play.
Yes.
From us, there's no action other than thanking the Walton Thompson Foundation for their charitable gift to
Yes.
Madison County and how it really
It is
benefits. It's big
greatly
steps.
appreciated.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's unreal to think about how far we've come in the last year on this project. And like I said before, anybody who wants to come by to look at it with the construction, they've already started construction on the cement walkways. And I expect they'll be pouring cement soon. Then they'll come back and do the asphalt pad. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Making big steps real fast.
Yes,
That's great.
yes.
So, Brian, the timeline, or Jerry, the timeline is we could have the playground done this fall, weather
Possibly.
depending.
Yes, weather impending.
And then the splash pad not until April or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be really aggressive to try to get done in the fall because you have to have 4 to 5 days of above 40 degrees. By the time we take delivery of this thing, you're getting into probably end of October, November, and there's a strong chance the temperatures aren't gonna cooperate. That's certainly the goal, but I think it's aggressive.
And I also think it's fair to mention, it would be good to let one project kind of complete itself. So Walls, with the last change order the board blessed or approved, excuse me, that has an estimated time of completion about December 15th. Now, he could ask for an extension, people do that, but the weather is nice right now. So in my opinion, it's nice if one contractor is finishing up. You can certainly do a notice to proceed with kind of communicating, hey, we understand you're going to start in spring. We would have to, and that's something that will be spelled out in the contract, we will have to put a completion date in there, so we'll work with Sparks at Play to see what they feel is a fair deliverable. So I do think the expectations, and correct me if I'm wrong, secure the equipment now, which we have a wonderful citizen member. You can,
Yeah, I was going to say, Chris Artelli, a big thanks to him for being able to store all this stuff. And the main thing, the reason why we wanted to get on the playground, jump on that quick before the prices went up for next year. We missed the cut on the splash pad. The prices have already gone up on that. So, but yeah, but at least we saved ourselves some money on the playground.
so Mr. Chairman, we'll bring this back at your next meeting. Contract should be secured at the time with the supplemental as well.
Look forward to seeing the supplemental appropriation. Congratulations
2 weeks.
in every way.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Also, thank you guys for all your support. It really means a lot to us. It's something we'll be around for Madison for a long time, and something we could say that in our lifetime we provided to the community. So, thank you.
Thank you. That can't be good. All right. All right. It is just great.
My grandkids play out there, everybody else's, I think, too.
Yep.
You know, I think back to a couple of years ago when we were in budget season, the folks from the county fair were here. And I remember the comment the lady made that, what, 3/4 of Madison kids don't even get to go on vacation every year. So, you know, this is a big plus for the county. I'm very thankful for this foundation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Encompass Community Sport Budget Talks. Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. You can skip to the next page. So I just thought it would be helpful to come and share some information on numbers served of clients for Madison, as well as a brief overview of the budget for this coming year. So with that said, is there any chance you can make that bigger? So in general, starting off in terms of just numbers served, you can see for behavioral health, outpatient services. So what we did is we have for Madison County in the middle, the darker green with our combined catchment area, and then out of catchment areas. So in terms, oh, thank you. You're getting it closer. My contacts aren't that great. So you can see in general, while Madison is not a large county, it definitely has activity. So in terms of just outpatient services, there are 32 that were serviced through last year. Now with the new building, We haven't started outpatient services there yet, but we're currently getting that licensed.
Perfect.
So our goal will be, not only can we do services at our clinics, but we'll be able to offer outpatient services at the Thrift Road location. I'm not reading everyone, but I'm gonna pop down through all of them. But you can see there was a fairly large, for Madison, number of individuals supported. In terms of IDD, again, we had 85 individuals supported from Madison County. That would be for adult and child case management. It would be for Part C, which is children's. Infant toddler connection, we had about 33 individuals. And just consumer monitoring, wait list monitoring, we had 85. So out of our 1,600, 85 were from Madison County. Next screen. Sorry that you have to blow it up so quick. In terms of substance use services, again, not a large footprint, but definitely meaningful. There were 11, so we had 2 through recovery court. We had 1 go through Boxwood. Case management services was 1, and then outpatient services was 5. And you can see with the combined counties, over 300. So while it's not a large number, it definitely is impactful for the folks in Madison. Next one. Emergency services. So you can see we had, for adults, we had 40 individuals that we assisted, and there were 11 that were children, so a total of 51. We actually have a crisis clinician that's working out of Thrift Road during the day, and then we have another crisis clinician who works out of Thrift Road in the evenings. So we are making use of the building. If you drive by, it may not look overly populated, but they're working at different hours. So emergency services, definitely. In terms of just general assessments, we get lots of phone calls for review. They come from Rapid Access. So over 30 individuals were supported. Boxwood, we did an assessment for an individual. Jail, we had 10. So in total, we had 48 individuals from Madison receive assessment services.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, absolutely.
What's out of catchment union? I don't know if you know that.
So it's for anyone that's not within our 5 counties. So it could be somebody is in Fredericksburg and they reach out. We don't turn them away. If we can connect them to services, we do. Sometimes they move into one of our counties temporarily and then get stabilized, and then they move back home. In terms of housing services, of all our services, housing actually has a much bigger footprint than our 5-county catchment area. So we do a variety of voucher management. So we have Section 8 is what it used to be called. It's the housing choice vouchers. Small number, but 2 individuals. Leafland Lane, that would be our senior services apartments. No one from Madison. So right now, the only individuals during the last year that we supported with housing were 2 for Section 8 housing choice. We recently picked up, Nelson County requested assistance. They were not getting their needs met, so they had reached out to us, and so we offered. So kind of gives you a little bit of a thumbnail. In terms of the warming center, last year DSS for Culpeper took the lead on it, or DSH took the lead. We provided support. This is just a general overview. So there were 88 individuals that were serviced. Our takeaway in terms of as we start planning and working with DSS this year is the number of individuals that are 50 and above. That number is growing. And so last year it was 37. The year before we had 62 individuals in the warming center. So it continues to unfortunately be something that is needed. But we were able to provide 12 individuals with housing options by the end of the season. So I do believe that there's a small group of interested individuals. I do believe Valerie Ward from Madison DSS is very much involved, and so we are starting to talk for another modified winter shelter this year, but we're going to call it Piedmont warming center so that people understand it's not a Culpeper service. It's open to anyone in our area. Sea Center, low barrier. Again, if somebody is struggling with recovery, if they're not in recovery and they're giving it some thought or they're just struggling, it is a low barrier place where they can come, be safe, and start having conversations about getting into treatment and recovery. So for Madison, we had over 100 in contacts with individuals from this particular area. So in general, for the whole year, we had over 7,000 contacts. So we also have created a space at the Thrift Road where we can do auxiliary services. There's telecommunications, so we're able to do remote connection. So we do trainings down there, we have groups, and we also do it via technology. So just some of the numbers in terms of overdose response. In general, number of individuals that have been referred to detox. Now, these numbers are for our whole catchment area. They're not broken out, say, for Madison, but in general, we've had over 80 individuals referred for detox. We had about 9 that were referred to medication assistance. Again, skipping around right on down to the harm reduction kits. We've given out close to 7,000 of those kits. And so that, again, is a way of getting people tools to stay safe until they get into treatment. And in all of those kits, we have contact information, so if they're ready, they can reach out. Just in terms of some of our prevention services, again, these are all our counties combined. We have offered all kinds of trainings on zero suicide. That's not just to schools, it's also to local businesses. We do a lot of lock and talk events where we do trainings. We also offer supplies such as lock boxes, smart pill bottles. We do a lot of social marketing. We have done trainings on ACEs, and you can see that's over 25 of those classes. It's not 25 individuals. Skipping down again, mental health training sessions. We have done over 1,000 of those throughout our 5-county catchment area. Counter tools, that's just speaking to adults and young people about the risks of smoking. We've had over 150,000 of those that we have pushed out. So we're very active, very busy. We're forever looking for grants to help us with prevention because we do feel it makes an impact on folks and their lives. Again, opioid response. So again, for medication destruction locations, we actually have 4 actual locations where people can drop off, and Madison in particular has a box. We have had over 3,000 young people drop off medications and over 9,000 for adults. So while, again, compared to the total catchment area, it's not a large number, but for Madison, it makes a difference. If we can get medications that are not being used off and out of the hands of somebody who may wish to misuse them, it keeps everybody safe. We have participated in over 35 drug takebacks. That's often done with law enforcement. And again, just general public service announcements in terms of opioids over the counters. Again, over 150,000 of those we have been pushing out. In really small print. Okay, so Area Agency on Aging. So not only are we a CSB, but we also are the Area Agency on Aging. We get our funding for that through the Older Americans Act. So just to give you some numbers for Madison, in terms of just information and assistance that was given out, for Madison, we've had over 300 individuals we have been able to connect with some type of service. In terms of insurance counseling, over 70 individuals compared to, say, 1,500. But when you look at, we have helped older adults here in this particular area save over $25,000 in signing up for an insurance program that's right for them. Ombudsman, we've had 26 contacts out of 200. What I think is amazing is this is one woman for the 5-county catchment area, and she's had over 200 contacts where people, families have called to issue a complaint or concern. So for Madison, we've been able to help 26 individuals resolve their cases and get better treatment. Kind of going on in terms of community connections and networking, just being active and engaged. It does kind of tickle me. They wrote thousands upon thousands. So they're out, our staff are meeting with individuals. They're trying to spread the word, just answer questions as they may have. And then additional support. So senior pool care, options counseling, senior Medicare patrol, again. You know, there's a lot of businesses that's their business to sell you a plan. We have, for Madison, we've worked hard, and for our 5-county catchment area, we have done over 1,500 of those contacts. So this one really kind of gets to the heart of how the AAA was originally established. It was established many years ago for food insecurity. And the 5-county catchment area made a plan to have a senior center in every county. So for Madison, in terms of number of members, there's 59 members that attend the senior center. And we have been able to provide over 3,000 meals to them over the course of last year. In terms of just socialization and events where they can get out of their house and talk to other folks, over 4,000 of those for, again, the citizens of Madison.
4,000 in Madison?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Huh.
In terms of home-delivered meals, 31 individuals are signed up for this, and we have delivered over 3,000 meals to members from Madison County. When you start seeing those numbers, it really, you don't think of that as a large program, but the amount and the depth of impact that it's making for those folks it's remarkable. And then, you know, there's the rest. In terms of just transit service, 48 individuals use those services, and we have provided over 6,000 trips for members from Madison County. And then it kind of goes into the volunteer program. We have 23 folks from this area that volunteer. That has totaled over 5,000 hours of support, which is in essence saved services over 180,000 in-kind donations. So the volunteers make a big difference. Any questions on number of services? And
How many people have you served in Madison, like total, without double counting? How many citizens have you served in Madison?
Oh, see, I'm going to have to go back to a previous page. I can.
I'm looking just total, because we know y'all offer tons of programs.
It's got to be multiple hundreds.
Okay.
I wouldn't say thousands, but
Yeah.
multiple hundreds.
All right, there you go.
But if you want a legit answer, I'd have to
Yeah.
go back and do some tabulation.
All right. Other questions before we get, please?
I do. The American, or Older Americans Act, has that been cut back at all this year or last year, or are you still getting the funding you need? Federal funding?
If only it were that easy to answer. Medicaid's been cut. There's going to be an impact on Medicare. We don't know fully what that's going to look like. But additionally, Encompass uses funding from many streams. We have at any given time over 70 grants that are funding some of our services. So when you hear of block grants, most people don't equate that to social services or human services. But for us, not only does it help with food insecurity for older adults and children, it also provides housing stability. So I can't tell you, it's not been quantified what the impact will be, but we're fully expecting a ripple effect. I'm already seeing grants get clawed back, meaning they're not being renewed for the next fiscal year or the next calendar year. So as I know more, I'll share more. So that made going into the budget this year, for this fiscal year, all the more exciting because we already knew Medicaid was going to get cut. When we did the numbers, we looked at how many individuals use Medicaid. About 40% are under Medicaid expansion. So we knew based on the rules of Virginia, they're going to be the first to experience the reduction. So when Lauren and her team, I have Lauren here from our finance department. When they started working on the budget, they really started trying to be much more conservative there and reflected a reduced billing level. Now, if we don't see that come to fruition right away, then that's additional funds, but for right now, we're trying to anticipate a reduce. So without further ado, so we ended last year, it was a little bit stressful, I'm gonna not lie. I mentioned Medicaid and billing, and so when we craft our budgets, we anticipate what we believe we're going to bill and receive through Medicaid. This past fiscal year, we did not perform as we had hoped. I think we were a little eager with 2 programs that we thought would bring in revenue, and it didn't. So we had a shortfall. Luckily, we had some money in reserve, and so we were able to balance out the end of the fiscal year sufficiently. But we didn't want to make the same mistake going into this calendar year. So we really worked hard to kind of minimize. So here you can see under state revenues, and when I say you can see, I'm being generous because it's kind of small. So we, what we proposed is very modest compared to previous years in several of our categories. The most significant reduction will be noted in Medicaid. But this shows you what we anticipated from last year to this year in terms of just the general funds. The state funds have been fairly stable. And so we're not expecting a lot of change. And so where we could get some additional funds, we did. Where we needed to kind of reduce some funds, we did, to help make sure that this was manageable. So I'm not going to bore you with every number, but I wanted you to have it so you can see kind of what we're looking at.
Mr. Chairman, may I interject?
Please.
I have a quick question, Cheryl. So under the support, trying to find it here, going back across, the MH Permanent Support Housing, whatever SGF stands for.
Yeah.
You got Nelson County Housing Choice Voucher?
Yes.
I think of your footprint here, but help me connect the.
Housing does not reflect our 5-county catchment area. It is a much bigger footprint. So we have smaller counties that have reached out because their resources were not able to meet those needs. And so they've reached out to us and asked, Virginia Housing has said, hey, we have these individuals. It's close to your catchment area. Would you be willing to pick up? So about 4 months ago, we were approached by Nelson County. The provider backed out, and so we picked that up.
So they just pass on kind of like a client list, like DSS and others have like a client list. I know we have a CAP agency here as well.
Yes.
But is there any services that are impacted by the locality? Where I'm getting is you have 5 counties that give like a per diem or whatever you want to say, a per capita. But Nelson's just giving you a list. It's not like they're getting services that they're not providing a per capita.
Correct. We're getting the administrative fees. Virginia Housing is paying to us for those vouchers.
Okay.
So any services that would have been given to Madison are not being shortchanged to give to Nelson. Nelson, the funds we're receiving for Nelson County pay for those services.
Thank you.
Other questions on any of this? So we did get word that the Veteran Services Grant is not being renewed. And so one of the things that we've been doing over the last, I would say 3 months, is we have been, as positions become open, we've not filled them if we did not absolutely have to. If we could eliminate it, we've eliminated it. So in this particular case, the veteran representative, we feel, is valuable enough. We're in the process of transferring him into a different role that we just got funding from DBHDS for care navigators. So we still will have a source for veterans connection. It's just not, unfortunately, going to be paid for through the Veterans Fund. So that's one example of some of the cuts that we went into the budget not expecting, but it's revealing itself as time goes by. So the next page. So in terms of, again, some revenue highlights, contributions, we have historically not really done much in the way of fundraising because most people think we're dependent on the government, and while we do receive some monies through the government, we also receive quite a bit in the way of grants and donations. And so we are going to, in the coming months, launch more of an educational campaign to help people understand, no, we're not government funded. We have a variety of sources of revenue, and donations are always welcome. I think the most notable effort that we've engaged in is Bowl for Seniors for our older adults. But you can see in terms of the counties, we had put in a 5% increase this particular fiscal year, and everybody has acknowledged that, and so we're quite grateful for that. But that just kind of tells you a little bit about where we're at. It is a modest decrease from the previous fiscal year. So next page. So in terms of highlights, Medicaid, we're anticipating a drop, and so you'll see we are lowballing that this year so that we're not in the same position that we were last year. Luckily, a lot of the others have remained solid, and we are not expecting reductions through them. So that kind of just gives you a little bit more of an approach. As I mentioned, we took a very, very conservative, we actually budgeted a 20% reduction so that if Medicaid cuts do come to pass, we'll be positioned for it. So, and as the third point, 41% of the clients use Medicaid, and they're on Medicaid expansion. So if that does come to pass, that could very well be a significant impact. Again, just in general highlights. So in terms of federal revenues, again, SOAR grant was cut by 50%. We factored that in. Everything else seems to be remaining fairly consistent. All ARPA funds have been eliminated. So we tried to kind of cut, tweak, and minimize where we could so that we can keep our services going robustly.
Please.
Sorry to belabor. So the 5 counties were part of a OAA grant that Culpeper County is the fiscal agent, and you are managing that program primarily for overdose response unit and certified peer recovery specialists. Is that shown in this items of funding?
Local ones. Can you go back to local?
It's the OAA grant. It was for $253,382. It's the PD9, the opioid. So you were having peer recovery specialists.
Oh, I'm sorry, state funds.
I guess I'm just trying to see what's remaining in that program. We can do this offline too, so
Okay.
please, that does not have to be given today. You can just follow
Okay.
up.
What we'll do is we'll go back to the office, not tonight, but. We'll
And that's
get back-
probably in your annual report that you file every year, so.
Yeah,
if-
the report I sent you earlier, a month or so ago, has a much more robust.
Track it. Okay,
representation.
thank you.
So again, where we knew it was gonna be the consistent rate, we put that in. We reduced Medicaid fees. Federal revenues, again, the budget is slightly less this year than it was last year, anticipating the reduction. So you can see those numbers there.
Right there.
We did have several areas that we were still using ARPA funds, but we have since ended those. So that hence the reduction. And then just in terms of miscellaneous revenue highlights. Okay, there we go. So it just kind of shows you just some of the motor pool revenue. So those big white vehicles that you see rolling around, we are able to collect a modest amount. It doesn't begin to cover the full cost of it, but every time you see that, actually, your 5% that you contribute to our budget this year and 10% last year, I would say 95% of it goes to providing supports for older adults. So supporting the senior centers, the home delivered meals, and transportation. And then highlights. In terms of the graph, you can see the bulk of our expenses are salaries and benefits. We're very fortunate this year. There is no increase to our health insurance, and we are grateful for that. But the next big expense you'll see is the transfer expense, and you're probably like, what is that? We get so many different funds into us, and many of them are restricted. They can only be used for certain things, whereas there are other, say, state general funds that are unrestricted. So the transfer is just what it sounds like. It's where we move in, we take out money from one account that is unrestricted to offset any need in some of the more smaller programs. So it's just moving money around to make sure services are paid. And then just some general salaries, benefits. I mentioned insurance has not gone up. We budgeted no raise for employees this year. Tried to keep everything as stationary as possible. If we didn't need to replace a position, we didn't. But that just kind of tells you a little bit more about our insurances. Our salary reduction is a result of elimination of positions, laying off. We had a very modest reduction in force. There was about 10 individuals. Ultimately, a few of them opted to retire. We actually have been able to bring back a couple of, about half of them back into other positions. So that number reduction is to show in terms of positions that we have stopped so that we can make sure that our budget is lean and mean for this coming year. Again, just general highlights, rent, utilities, none of that is cheaper by any stretch of the imagination. So that just kind of reflects what we're anticipating to pay for those. If we are doing any capital repairs, it's because it's either in the capital budget or we got special funding for it. Again, travel, motor pool, we have cut down on conferences. We used to send and invest a ton in training of employees. This particular fiscal year, we are encouraging people to do anything and everything they can virtually, but we are limiting the number of folks that can and will be attending conferences to try and, again, keep costs down. And so we've budgeted a smaller amount this year than previous years. Two capital projects, Madison Road, that one is in the County of Orange. It's continuing its discussion at this point in time. We're working with other community partners on how we can get that project. It's not that it needs funding. We've been able to secure the majority of the funds needed, but oddly enough, when we started this project, we didn't realize that as a CSB, we do not have the authority to guarantee our own projects. So while we've got all the money, the blueprints are ready, we're ready to swing hammers, we are actually working and having conversations with other entities to see if they will guarantee the project so that we can move it forward. So just of interest. And then Laurel Street is our old Culpeper Clinic. We are in the process of, I think we will be starting renovation by the end of this calendar year, and that will become a crisis drop-in center. So if there were somebody here in Madison County that needed more help, but they didn't qualify yet for a hospital bed, law enforcement can bring the individual to our Laurel Street Crisis Center, and our staff would support and monitor them. Questions?
What was your total budget last year compared to this year? 45,995, 943. 46,412. Thank you. Do we have questions? Questions?
Well, my only question has to do with the facility up here on Thrift Road.
Yes.
So how will that be staffed? And then, we're gonna have regular hours at some point, or do you have them already, or?
So the day
what is that?
program is using it 1 to 2 days out of the week, where they come in and they use it as sort of a launching pad, where they can go out into the community, come back. If they're not having lunch, they can eat. We have a crisis staff that work there later in the day. We also have a mobile crisis responder that is working out of the program during the day. We are getting it licensed to provide outpatient services. So it will never, I don't want to say never, it most likely won't include regular staff, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It will have a variety of services coming in and out. So next week, if there is, when Medicaid and the insurance opening starts, we will be using it extensively to meet with older adults from this county to discuss insurance options. So it's going to have kind of a mixed-use variable time it's in operation.
But it's not like you can go up to the door and say, our hours this
No.
week are this, or
No,
anything
simply
like that.
because, so the co-responder, or the mobile crisis responder that works out of there fairly frequently, he's busy handling calls, he may need to step out and go to a scene, and so in order to keep that building open for walk-ups, I'd need to staff it. And because we don't know yet, or we anticipate there's not a large enough demand to have a salary of somebody sitting there. So right now, we just have different departments that are using it on an as needed basis.
Can I build on that question?
Please.
So you've heard me say this before, Jim's heard me say this before. So mental health, more where it's screening or seen before it becomes acute. I think of our county size and like Rappahannock. I know a lot of services, Culpeper, Fall Cure. I understand it's not permanent staffing, but what are we doing on the kind of the mental health pre-acute? Because the idea is to try to keep them from becoming acute, and then that becomes a law enforcement thing and so forth. Is that something we are doing now and
Yes.
can improve upon
You
and
have
bring
a-
other counties here?
Yes, if a neighboring county was having somebody in crisis and the law enforcement wanted to bring them here because we have one of our community responders working out of Thrift Road, they could do that. So there's actually somebody who's using that space, his I don't want to call it an office, but he works out of there. So as issues surface in Madison County and somebody needs an initial assessment, he's there to either handle it over the phone, or if he needs to get up and go to the scene, he can do that. So that's actually occurring. And then in the evening, there is somebody that is also working out of that space 75% of the time. And then again, we're getting it licensed to provide outpatient services. So telehealth, if there's somebody in the county who wants to have an appointment, they can schedule it, go to that space, and then connect with their doctor through technology. So that should be up and running in the next couple months.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see you in, January, February for
I
our
will come
budget?
back as often as y'all want.
Oh, no, we can only stay on one PowerPoint a year.
I'll tell you what, I won't bring it up.
That's great. Thank you. All right, no public hearings. Jefferson Area Community Criminal Justice Board, Mr. Weekly?
Yes, sir. We have a vacancy on that board. Mr. Hoffman resigned, I believe, some time ago, and Kim's going to bring up the membership makeup. Essentially, the board, the purpose of the CCJB shall be to enable the participating localities to work together and plan for development of pretrial court services and correction programs. So there's a whole list of how this board should be made up, you know, whether they're general district judges, circuit court judges, chief of police or sheriff's office, attorneys, Commonwealth attorneys, and so forth. I asked him to highlight the segment that mostly fits us. We do have a citizen appointment. I forget her name. I should have remembered. I can look at my little committee sheet. But we do have a citizen appointment. What we're missing is item number 21, which is the requirement of one member from each governing body. And if an elected official is unable to serve, then the other provisions are, or a city or county manager, county administrator, or executive, or assistant or deputy appointed by the governing body. What I would recommend, since I do not believe board members, and it's a quarterly meeting, and it's in Charlottesville, and they have subcommittees and all this stuff. I'm recommending Mr. Gordon for that task. We'll think of it, I head north to Stafford for the juvenile detention. He can head south for this membership meeting makeup. That is how I understand the membership makeup. I know we've talked to the Commonwealth Attorney, I believe our deputy clerk as well, and that's how we understand our membership makeup, and where we are vacant is that item number 21 membership. So unless the board wishes to send one of your own, I recommend Mr. Gordon as an appointment to that vacancy.
I don't see anybody jumping. Congratulations. We can't wait to hear your subcommittee reports.
And that would be well, we're gonna lean heavy on the virtual option. Because I don't believe, you know, sir, you serve on a community action. I mean, a lot of those subcommittees are just draining. We're not looking for that, but it would take an official vote of the board to appoint someone to a board.
Well, it's so moved.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
We call that taking one for the team. That's
being
what
a
we
team
do.
player, every bit. All right. Steep slope ordinance.
So just a little background, and you all probably remember this. There was a proposed subdivision development that came up off of Etland Road, pretty substantial slope there, and that brought direction from the Board of Supervisors to ask the Planning Commission to take that up. It's my understanding that the Planning Commission or the subcommittee did review that. I think in your packet is some information. In speaking to the chairman, Chairman Jackson, it was recommended to put on this agenda to see if you all want to continue down that path, or do you wish to take another direction, whether that be continue or basically just remove this as an initiative for an ordinance change.
Cardi, go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll take this one because I was really upset about that subdivision up there. But anyhow, so when Clay and I were at the last Planning Commission workshop, and we looked at what has been worked on, which Nathan Cowan did a lot of work to get this document together, and then Alan Nichols did a great job shooting holes all in it. And between those two, I think Nathan and the entire Planning Commission said, look, this should. There's no way we can enforce this. We can't take, first, two reasons. You got engineers who can build stuff anywhere, anyhow. And number two, you're taking people's property rights away. So there was sort of a straw poll taken that night that the planning, well, we asked them, Clay and I asked them, what do y'all think about this? And it was like, let's bag this. So I agree with it. And I agree with pulling this off of their agenda.
There are lots of safeguards in place at this point. Jamie Wilkes, we all know, is just completely by the book and unbiased, and is going to hold everybody to the same structure that's out there. You've got ENS down there that is doing the same exact thing, and the health department's doing it in its own way, and VDOT does their own thing. If all those regulations are met, it's personal property rights. This is something that's unneeded. The other one that they gathered, and they sampled a tremendous amount of counties looking at all the different comparisons. I don't know, I'd say this one we should be not like Albemarle. Y'all have any problem with removing this from the docket of the planning commission?
All right, well, I made the motion to put it on their agenda, so I'll move that we remove the steep slope ordinance review and recommendation from the planning commission's agenda.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, if you so choose, I'll send a courtesy email to the planning commission weighing your outcome of your vote here tonight to notify them.
Fine. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Very good. Let's go Graves Mountain Apple Harvest Festival, large-scale outdoor event permit application. Is it
It's pretty,
everything put
pretty
in place?
standard, yeah. Everything looks to be in place. The weekends of October 4th and 5th, 11th and 12th, and 18th and 19th, so they generally have 3 weekends. We don't see any concerns, and staff would recommend
Questions,
approval.
comments, thoughts, and motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Graves Mountain Apple Harvest Festival, large-scale event.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Fireworks permit by Camp Shenandoah. They're doing, on Stagecoach Lane, Shenandoah Springs, excuse me. They're doing one 10/11. It's gonna start at 9 o'clock. Well, it'll be over by 11:30. They good, Brian? Anybody have any comments, thoughts, questions about this? I am glad we're doing this. It does, it puts it all out there in front of the public. Everybody knows it's here. It's a good thing to do. What would y'all like to do with this?
Yeah, and the permit instruction, I mean, going through the process, gives the fire department, all EMS, everybody a chance.
I will add one thing. Currently, our KBDI drought index is between 400 and 500. It's a generalized term to kind of measure dry. We start getting into 600 range plus, we may have some issues. Typically, this time of year, you start seeing rain showers and rain events coming in. It's not a big deal. Just want to put that on everybody's radar. I've had some conversations with Gavin and internally. We do have the ability to invoke a fire ban that nobody wants to do prematurely, but if it gets to that point, it's something we may want to look at.
Indeed, to that point, DEQ issued a drought advisory so far, fingers crossed, but to Brian's point, we got to watch it. But we're not in that drought advisory. There's a lot of communities or counties that are west of us that are. So hopefully some rain will happen soon.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the Camp Shenandoah Springs fireworks permit.
That's second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Mr. Jewett, tell us about your VACO meeting, please,
Oh, yes, certainly.
where you made friends.
Made many friends, lifelong friends. This was a regional meeting of VACO, the Virginia Association of Counties, and it encompassed 2 regions. This was a combined meeting, but one of those regions Madison belongs to. And of course, the idea is that the VACO staff would present us with an update as to what's being done in preparation for the next General Assembly, and solicited input from all of the county representatives. We had supervisors there, we had county administrators, there were folks from water authorities, all throughout the district. And a common theme, of course, was from the counties, localities, number one, they need more revenue. The smaller counties are really in a bad situation. They're having to, their volunteer rescue and fire, that's fading away just like it is everywhere else, and they have very small populations. I think Bath County said they had 4,000 people, and there's no way they can finance these things. So they're petitioning the state to help out. That was one of the issues. The other issue, of course, is what we've been grappling with is the loss of local control over zoning and land use. The Senate Bill 974 I brought up We had only one House of Delegate member there from Rockingham County. They invited all of the delegates and senators from our region, but we had one and asked him about it and basically just get a shrug off. The other thing is that I did introduce to the group Hannon's suggestion about amending the State Code 15.2 that would permit localities to assess impact fees on development. And it can be done now, but you have to have a transportation district. The feedback I got from the VACO is that impact fees aren't going to happen. And, you know, my response is, well, why not? It's something that we have to look at since you've, you know, cut our feet out from under us, SB 974. So it was, as I mentioned earlier, I thought overall it was a good meeting, and I think VACO is a very effective organization, but it's frustrating when you go to these things and you get input solicited from elected officials and from these organizations, and basically when you start to give it, then it's like, well, we really don't want to hear it. I mean, that's just putting it the way it was. And, you know, I also asked the question posed to the delegate about the agro-tourism issue that we're having and other counties are having as well, and asking about could the General Assembly look at possibly better defining the parameters of agro-tourism, to which he responded was, we don't want to hamper localities' ability to regulate land use. And I'm like, what about Senate Bill 974? Didn't that just do, no. So, I mean, we've got a really tough General Assembly session coming up, but one, because of the land use issues, but also, you know, it was in the presentation today from Encompass, you know, what's going to happen with these massive changes in things like Medicaid and SNAP, and how much is the state going to have to pick up? And I was just telling somebody last night at the forum, if there's major changes, you're going to see that $2 to $3 billion a year state budget surplus just vanish into thin air. So those are, and of course, where's it going to be made up at? The localities. And, you know, unfunded mandates was another issue that was frequently brought up. But one of the things that I really caught from this meeting is that, first of all, I was the aggressor in the room. And maybe it was a little bit too aggressive. But, you know, I want answers. You're there asking for my opinion. I'm going to give it to you. Please answer my questions. But so many of the folks from the counties, the supervisors, you know, they almost sat there with a sense of resignation. You know, what are we going to do? I mean, and when you are interfacing with your state representatives and federal representatives, and you're not really getting any kind of guidance, it's extremely frustrating. But, you know, one example was a supervisor from Shenandoah County was saying, you know, that they're going to have to do something with their prison population. And they're looking at building a jail, and it's going to cost $140 million. They don't have that kind of money. Nobody does in a small county. The other thing that was mentioned, and I think it goes without saying, there was a lot of support for passing the bill that would allow localities via a public referendum to assess the 1% sales tax for school construction. And the comments were made, though, is that if you look at what it costs to build a school today, that's really not going to amount to much money. So, again, it's the need for funding. Costs are going up. The demand for services are going up. And on the other end, we're losing support from the state, and we're losing more of our own control to assess that with how we develop our communities and our localities. But, you know, VACO, I'm going to stay really involved in it. I think it's really the one unified voice that localities have. And I'll say, I've said this many times, and it's the most, ironically, one of the most nonpartisan political groups that I've ever been involved with. I don't care whether it's a blue area, red area, they all speak in the same language. You know, we need more money. We need to be left alone. Let us run our localities as our citizens see fit. So it was good. I mean, we're going to the conference in November.
Or a early winter.
So it's November 11th to the 13th, I believe.
Yeah, I think those are the days. Yes, it's over Veterans Day. So, Anyway, that's my report, and I will definitely keep you in the loop, but as I said, I'm gonna be, as your representative, I'm gonna be aggressive in this.
Good.
You know,
Please, continue.
You know, I can gripe all day.
Good.
Maybe they'll do something until I'll go away.
So when's your next opportunity? That would be the November conference?
Yes, and then we
Yeah.
do the legislative days in
Yeah, yeah.
January. Judd and I have gone last couple of years, so, and then the conference, they have the conference and tell us what's going on, but it's gonna be, we've got some challenging times the next couple of years in local government. And, so hopefully VACO's gonna help us out.
Yeah, that, you've been to the one in Bath.
Yeah, I went down one night.
I went down, yeah, the 2 or 3 nights, whatever it was, 2 nights. And, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, to speak with delegates and senators there, for sure. I mean, because you're eating
Right.
breakfast with them, you know, you're eating lunch with them, you're eating supper with them.
They're wishing you give them money for campaigns,
Yeah.
those sort of things. One additional thing that I'm done, in talking about the value of the networking with these folks, I did sit beside the county administrator from Rockingham County and one of their supervisors, and I was asking them about the agritourism issue, which they have dealt with. And their response was, I asked them what they were doing, they said, well, we did this, this, and this, but we actually got slapped by the state, particularly on the number of attendees that we could regulate that tripped you from by right to where you had to have a permit. And he said that he would be more than happy to put the county attorney from Rockingham that handled that in touch with Mr. Wright here to, you know, give us a better guidance on what we're doing. I have to call him. He won't, for some reason, he won't give me the email contact. He wants to talk to me directly. So I called him today. I haven't heard back, but as soon as I do, I'm gonna get you guys connected. Yeah, I don't know whether they're scared that I might be you never know. But he's screening me. No, great guy. Last year I talked to him on technology corridors. He would provide a lot of useful information. So I'll let you know as soon as we get that in. All right. Thank you all very much for allowing me to be your representative.
No, thank you for going and giving us an update. Super informative. All right. I think we've made it through. Information and correspondence, Mr. Weekly?
Yes, sir, I'll be brief. Spoke to Mr. Elliott, he's one of your 2 RSA board members. He informed me that at the last RSA board meeting, they did authorize and award the sewer plant upgrade project. I believe that was to Patterson Construction. So apparently they found the funding for that. I've left a message for Mr. Clemens today to get a little more detail. We're still tracking a completion date of 2027 or so forth. If I can get him here, if you think there's value in that, to ask some questions. I know EDC met before this meeting, so I've got some notes there to figure out how many EDUs are available, and if they have a discussion around the service connection policy. If not, I'll probably draft that and get that to you all to get your approval before issuing to our representatives on the RSA board. Firefly, Kim has arranged for them to be here on October the 14th, so you can ask some questions and get some answers. They have 2 projects, the VADI 2022 and the VADI 2024. They can talk about the extension that was required because of the Brightspeed changeover project. So that'll be good. I believe that a little over 1,100 connections. They were trimming trees out my way today, Jim, so I don't know if that means they're connecting Locust Dale soon or not. My understanding is the Route 29 crossover connections is what's holding up a lot of the Locust Dale hubs, but Galen Creekmore and maybe some others from Firefly will be here. Mr. Wood has a commitment, or he would be here. VDOT, Chuck Proctor is who I normally speak to about smart scale projects. The application cycle is coming up. So if there are any particular ideas or thoughts on that, initially what I took, Supervisor Yao, was you had some concerns and conversations around the Route 230 and 29 interchange, maybe whether there's some R turns or something. Their initial feedback, I guess they do a review at a higher level, not Chuck, but folks from VDOT. If there's anything they would recommend, which is what they've done in the past with Shelby and so forth, they didn't have any recommendations, that doesn't mean that it foregoes your right to make an application. So be thinking of some areas if you want to. If not, that's fine too. But your two smart scale project, one that's been completed at Shelby and the other one at some point will go to advertisement and construction at the Pratt's Roundabout.
Has Carrie responded back, Ms. Shepherd, has she responded back at all about options for that intersection? There certainly cannot be only stoplights, J-turns, or in the J-turn, or roundabouts. There has to be other options.
For 230 and 29?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna work with Chuck directly on that.
Better.
I know we mentioned it to Ms. Shepherd, but since Chuck is kind of and he's out of the Culpeper District office, see if we get some traction there. So again, just because VDOT doesn't have a recommendation, doesn't mean that you can't make an application. So if there are certain areas, I'll be talking to Chuck to follow up a little bit more on that. If you would like to learn a little more extensively, we can invite them in here. And you can talk with them, but just want to make you aware that that's open, so be thinking if there are safety improvements you want considered, let's talk about it, let's get them looking at it so we can formulate an application.
What's the drop dead date on?
I will get that, sir, forgive me for not having that. I will get the applications.
No, that's a good question.
Period, yep, very good question. I'll follow up via email on that to you all. Keep it going. Dominion Energy, and if Mr. Alexander is still online, I appreciate him. There's been some low-flying plane activity the last weekend or two. He was so helpful in providing some information on flight paths and who that may be. We believe it may be a contractor doing some type of work for Dominion. I normally deal with Jeff Henry of REC, who I believe was online earlier as well. It's not REC activity. He did reach out to Dominion. The initial response that Dominion gave him was they're just flying easements looking for any tree trimming activity. We're not sure if that is what's going on, so I put an inquiry into Mr. Andre May, I believe I'm pronouncing his name right. He's in the Office of External Affairs to further question that. And I will maybe even try to set that meeting if Mr. Alexander is available. He was very paramount and helpful when we were going through the utility corridor, but we certainly want to know of activity that's going on in and around here. Sometimes those projects peak up at PJM, and we're not made aware, unfortunately. So I want to make you aware of that. The Treasurer's Office, it is on the website. Ms. Murray made me aware they have to be closed, and that is tomorrow. They've got out-of-the-office training. So that notice has been posted on the website, and I did not check whether to see something's on the door. We certainly can put something on the door before start of business tomorrow. So that is all I had on my list, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else have any information, correspondence? What was it, Hospice of the Piedmont, sent us isn't it Hospice of Piedmont?
Yeah.
I filed it the other day. They said thank you for the funds that we gave them through last budget cycle. Anybody else? Public comment. Public comment. Anything? All right, we do have a closed session. Thank you all.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board convene in a closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Sections 2.2-3711A1 for personnel.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign.
Who's second? Dustin?